Welcome back. Today I'm going to try to solve some puzzles on chess.com. If you're new here, I'm not a titled player or a chess coach. I'm just a random person trying to get better at chess. And one of the ways that I do that is solving puzzles here on chess.com. In my last video, I made it up to 1100 in my puzzle rating. In this one, they have just taken here. I think I can take the other knight with check and then take that one. I think I can take both of them, right? And it looks like then I would be ahead. So check, and then, oh, now I can't move my queen because it's pinned, so I'll have to take their queen with check, and then take this knight. Okay, and I'm left with an extra piece, but a damaged pawn structure. Okay, that one seemed pretty straightforward. Next. Well, I'm not sure here, but I think what I should do is take this knight and then aim for checkmate. Is there anything that the opponent can do about that? Because they can't check me immediately. Even after I move that pawn, they can't quite hit this rook because queens don't move that way. So I don't think they can check me. I'm on a dark square with my king, so yeah, I think I'm going to take that knight. Oh, and it stopped there. Is that because I had checkmate incoming? Let me just check to be sure here with the analysis board. After the opponent moved, I have mate in 2. Okay, so after this, why didn't the puzzle continue? It looks like no matter what they do, I'll have mate here. They can even come down here and, threaten my queen or something, but I'll still have mate. Just to be sure, let's say they play what it said was their best move. Oh, I also have a mate in 2. Okay, that's why it didn't continue, because I could have gone here and I still have mate in 1. After they go here, it would be mate either one of these places. Okay, that's why it didn't continue, but I wanted to make sure that I did have a forced mate. Next puzzle. Oh, I haven't developed any of my pieces yet, except these two here. That one's being threatened. Let's see, do I have any checks? I do have this check, which would not force them to move the king. They could drop the queen back, I guess. Then I could take it, and then they could take, and then I would get this bishop. I'm going to try checking. Also, after I check, I can take this bishop because my bishop is guarding that. Okay, so I think I'm just going to take this one and then take their queen. Okay, so I came out a piece ahead on that. That seems to be one way that the puzzles change once they get into the 1100s and higher, is that I have fewer of the mates in 1s and more of there's a piece that I can pick up. But as we saw in the previous puzzle, there are still some checkmating puzzles. It's just that that one didn't go all the way to mate. But anyway, again, I see this knight looking very vulnerable, and it looks like I would have a forced checkmate after that. However, if I take that, that gets out of the way of this check, but then I could take it. They took with the queen, I would have a knight here, and I think I would still have the forced mate. So I'm going to take the knight. Oh, and it stopped again. Okay. Again, I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything, but I think that after they do these two checks, then I have a forced mate, and I just wanted to check on the analysis board. A mate in 17. Oh, it started at mate in 17, but now it's mate in 9. Okay, so it starts here. If they check me with the rook, it's actually mate in 4. Okay, so their best move is queen to c3, which I would have to take. And then their best move is rook to e5, which blocks my queen from getting back there, but then I would just take that with the knight. Their best move is to go after the bishop. So if they did that, then I would take this pawn to protect the bishop, and they can't come back because of my queen. So their best move would be rook to g8, which guards that square. Then I would need to bring this rook over here. Then their best move is g5, and I can check on either one of these squares. I don't know which one is. They both mate in 3. Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated than I thought. Their best move is to block that with the rook, but then I bring my rook down here, and their rook is pinned, and now it doesn't matter what they do, I have mate. Okay, that one was a little bit more complicated. Got it. That's one reason that I sometimes doubt myself and check the analysis board, is because sometimes it's a lot easier than, oh, I'm going to have mate on the next turn. Well, it looks like we're exactly even on material. I am playing with the white pieces, so I can't check them. I mean, I can check them, but they would take it, and then I would advance the pawn, but then they could get behind it. So that doesn't seem good. Because I can't move the pawn. I can move the king, but where would I move it, right? I have multiple choices for the king to move, but none of those help anything. So I think it has to be a rook move, and the one that makes the most sense to me is to get behind the pawn. But that wasn't it. All right, we're going to find out what the answer was, because other than getting in front of that pawn, it was checking them. Only move is to check them on g6. All right, I'm curious. I assume they're going to take it. Oh, because then I get their rook, but then they can push their pawn. Well, Stockfish had a little bit of trouble there. Is it because I can catch it? Oh, I can catch their pawn, but then they can catch mine, right? Maybe not, because they're a little further from my pawn than I am from their pawn. I'm one square closer. And here it's not an only move, so the puzzle wouldn't have gone that far. So it would have been checking here and then taking their rook. Oh, and then they would have moved, not advanced the pawn. Okay, so then I would bring my king. Wait, since they didn't advance the pawn, I can push mine. Because when I went to the analysis board, it said that pushing the pawn was actually the best move here, but they didn't do it. If they pushed the pawn, I had to go to one of these two squares, so I would get here before their pawn promoted. But since they moved the king, if I move over, they're going to get to my pawn. So I think I have to move my pawn and keep going. Okay, so the answer was that I had to give up the rook because they had to give up defending their rook. All right, I understand. Next. I guess I just didn't follow that check out enough in my head. Right? They have attacked my knight, which is defended multiple ways. Oh, their queen is defending the rook and the knight. So I think I take the rook, and when they take back, then I take their knight. And I'm just going to be up a piece, I believe. Okay, that one also seemed pretty straightforward. Or you know, I got used to the 2400 rated puzzles, so maybe these seem so straightforward because they're a lower rated. Although I just missed one, so I shouldn't talk. What do we have? We have a check, and they can't move the king, so their only legal moves would be to block with either the pawns or the queen. And if they block with the pawn, I'm going to take it. If they block with the other pawn, I'm going to take it. And if they block with the queen, that's mate. Okay, so I think I have a forced mate here. Oh, that's their only legal move. Oh, come on. I got to see this one too. After this, yeah, they only have the one legal move. Oh, and it's saying I could take the rook, and then when they block, I can come back and still have mate. All right, but this would be the answer. Okay, well, I'm 10 minutes in on my end. Hopefully I've edited out little bits and pieces, and I guess I'm going to try to get to at least 1,200, if not 1,300. Let's keep going. Well, I have a couple of options, but it looks like my best option is to take with the queen. Take the rook with the queen. Because if they take back, then I have checkmate here. After they block with the queen, I would take it. That's mate because my pawn guards these two squares. And if they don't take my queen and just move up here, then that's checkmate. So I think that's what I have to do. They did take it, so after they block with the queen, that's checkmate. Okay, and this one did go all the way to checkmate. Very nice. Let's keep going. Oh, they just took, what was that, a pawn? I didn't have a chance to see what it was. And I am playing with the white pieces. Well, their queen's not defended is the main thing that I'm noticing here because I can check, and however they get out of check, I'll win their queen. So I think I'm going to do that. Let's check and then take their queen. Okay. So then I would just be up 6, 7 points of material. Next. Oh, they took a piece, and now my opponent is a piece ahead. And they're closing in here. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to get in here. Maybe the knight first and then the queen because I could take back. And then there's going to be this. So they're getting very close. But I do have a check. I can also check by taking the rook. Well, which one's better? Let's see. If I check here, they have 1, 2, 3 ways of getting out of check. Not to mention blocking with the queen. If I check by taking the rook, they would have 1, 2 ways to get out of check. But then their other rook would be pointed at my queen. I'm just not sure. Because, I mean, that's really tasty. That's probably why I put my queen here in the first place. But is this better? What happens if they just move out? Then their rooks are protecting each other. Let's see. If I check by taking the rook and they move here and I come take this pawn, I guess that's good because both my queen and rook would be pointed over here at this pawn. But then wouldn't they start doing the thing that I talked about down here? Probably not because I would be getting close to mate. Okay, so if I take the rook, they come out here. I take this pawn. Then what do they play? Do they do the thing that I said? If so, then I come across here and take this pawn with check, and then they would only have 1 legal move, and then my rook gets away. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm going to take the rook. Okay. They did do that. I don't have a follow-up check, and I'm pretty sure I shouldn't take the rook, because then I'd lose my queen, but is it taking this pawn, or is it coming back to one of these places? I said I was going to take the pawn. That's what I'm going to do. Hopefully that's not bad. It was bad. Okay. But because I got the first move right, I only lost 5 points. But the only reason I chose that first move over this one is because then I could take this pawn. Okay, well, let's find out what it was. After they get out of check, my only move is to give away this rook, which they would then take. Then I get this rook. And that would have been the end of the puzzle? Okay. Sorry, Let's restart this puzzle. Oh, it didn't restart. Man, that's frustrating. I clicked the restart button and it went to the spot at which I already was. Okay, so that's taking here, then taking this rook, and it would have stopped there. Okay, so I got 2 rooks for 1 rook, but that last part was just a trade. All right, I'm going to go back to the analysis board because after their first move, just out of curiosity, that was a bishop. That's weird that I left the bishop there. So I did choose correctly here. They did as I expected, but this isn't good at all. I'm curious as to why. Okay, well, I can't spend any more time on this if I want to keep working on puzzles, but yeah, I'm still not sure why this is better other than I gain a pawn out of it. But no, that's the thing. I gain a pawn this way too. And then after I gain that pawn, then we trade rooks, which is equal material-wise. Okay, I've got to go on. That seems pretty inscrutable for a 1300 rated puzzle. Next. Okay, I do have a check, which they cannot block, so the king would have to move. And I would have a follow-up check, but the king could just move again, and then that would be mate. Oh, okay, well, let's try that. It moved here, so it's got to be this, right? Because after that, the only legal moves would be here and here. And if it went to the D file, I would have mate. If it went to the other way, I would also have mate. So this is, right here is checkmate, I'm pretty sure, because my queen cuts off all these squares. Oh, it dropped down and gave me a 700 rated puzzle because I missed the last one. Very nice, thank you. Next. Oh, that's my queen. I don't want them to hurt my queen. I could take it with check, but they'll just block that. And then what? Oh, and then I get the free bishop. I mean, the free knight. Let's see, am I down on material? I am. So both of those pieces are free, but I should probably take this one first because my queen's in danger. And if they block with the knight, then I will take this knight. If they block with the queen, I will take it first and then get this knight, and then I would be ahead. Because after this, we're going to be even on material. And then after this, I will be ahead a piece. They did block with the queen. Well, I'll take it and then take this knight here. Okay, again, a fairly low-rated puzzle, only 900. Next. Oh, this one seems easy. It's taking their g-pawn, right? Because that only leaves them 1 legal move, and then I would check, and they would come back, and then I would have mate. Oh, it stopped. Pretty sure they have to come back, and then I would have mate. Oh, and I crossed 1200. I'm going to stop now, even though I have a few minutes left, because I like stopping around even numbers. Obviously, there were some speed bumps in this one, too. The first one that I missed, I do understand, I'm pretty sure. And then the second one that I missed is the one that I had trouble understanding the difference between the 2 ways out of the queen in the corner. Hopefully you got something out of that. Hopefully you're getting better at chess as well. As always, I appreciate you spending your time here, and I'll see you next time.